Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I am your homegirl, Tawanda with the T, and joining us today is Kyle Jones of ESS Group Inc. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate the invite.
Josie will not be joining us today, but she will be back next week for those who may miss her. But let me get started real quick with my tea. Um, and then we'll get right into this interview. So, did you know that September is Save Your Photos Month? When a natural disaster, digital malfunctions, or human errors occur, treasured memories are lost forever. Save Your Photos Month Save Your Photos Month reminds us to back up our digital pictures, scan and save the vintage ones. Since the advent of photography, humans have been capturing images and documenting history. Today's photos preserve our memories in vivid color, and we are taking more pictures than ever before. It can seem like an overwhelming task to document and preserve these precious memories, but it doesn't have to be. Throughout the month, local organizations, businesses, and bloggers offer us photo preservation tips. These bits of advice cover the box of photos you collected from a grandparent to every digital photo on your phone or other electronic devices. All of them require some level of attention to protect and preserve them. Thankfully, the modern age we live in offers many more ways to save photos than ever before. Keep original photos in a photo safe container or album. Create copies through scanning, backup digital photos. You can do this by saving them to jump drives, cloud services, or printing them. I can tell you I have on my phone alone, probably about 20,000 photos. That's bad. I know it's horrible, but my phone is good and it's holding it and it's keeping moving. Anyway, document your photos, include your names, the dates, and the places so future generations can save time trying to figure out who that person is and when that happened. Do your best to document older photos. Those that have been handed down often are missing vital information. Connect with family members who may be able to identify the people and possibly add stories to go with the photo. You know, grandmama always got a story. Join a heritage group online. You may be able to connect with more family members there. Display your favorites. You know, we love to display our photos, the good, bad, and the ugly. While for some, this task may seem overwhelming, others will find it to be a worthwhile endeavor. Take a trip down memory lane and get your photos preserved and safe. How to observe #Save Your Photos Month. Back up your digital photos on a regular basis to a jump drive or a cloud program. Display and share your favorites. Don't cage them in data forever. Include dates, names, ages, locations on the back of the pictures if you actually have the printouts. Ask family members. And that concludes my tea for today. Thank you for taking a sip with me. And no, it's not water today. So, Kyle, let's get right in it. Who is Kyle Jones?
That's probably the most complicated question ever, right? First of all, I'm mad you didn't tell me we weren't having no water tonight. I would have brought my tea with me with no water.
You can go get it.
Let me grab. I'm about to send a message. Hey, bring me some tea, right? You know that brown stuff, that good brown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kyle Jones is a very complex yet simple individual at the same time, right? I think this may be the first time I've talked about myself in the third person. It's kind of weird, right? Grew up in a very harsh environment, so to speak, in the bottom of Philadelphia, literally the bottom. That's where my background is. If you go and look up and Google the bottom and put Philadelphia, it will literally show you an area where it is. So I really grew up at the bottom, right? The average lifespan out there was, very, 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 very young. So it was a very rough neighborhood. Made my way through some very tough times and ended up working my way into business. And now I sit as the COO Chief Operations Officer for ESS Group Incorporated, with my counterpart who runs. She's a woman-owned small business. So I came on with her. We ended up merging businesses. Believe it or not, I was running my own business, training and development company, and she was in government contracting. And so we ended up pulling things together to make one company, um, a one entity.
Mm-hmm.
So in a nutshell, you could say you took this very uh, humble kid and quiet, shy child, who was raised in a very rough neighborhood, who
Mm-hmm.
ran for his life most of the time, right? Wasn't a fighter unless you made back me in the corner, right? And did my studies, did sports, ran track, was one of my favorite things ever. Went to college down in Grambling State University in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
graduated with a very high GPA. Can't say the same thing for high school. I had to learn a lesson a hard way,
Right.
and made my way through the ranks, starting in business. I mean, starting in employment, and then working my way to business. And now, one of the main things that I do as a part of my life is raising leaders to impact other leaders. So that's like probably drinking from a fire hose. I don't know if I said much of anything. Maybe I took us around in a little bit of a circle here, but again, I'm fairly introverted for the most part. So
Mm-hmm.
stepping out and having conversations is sometimes tough for me. Um, I do have a great deal of fun. I'm a family man. I'm a father of two wonderful, beautiful children who both compete in track and field, both national qualifiers. I've been so blessed. Have not been to the morgue. I have not been to the hospital. I have
Mm-hmm.
not been to the cemetery. I mean, well, the cemetery, well, morgue, cemetery, or the jailhouse. So I'm incredibly blessed. I am incredibly grateful for the things I have in my life and the things that were kept from me as well.
Mm-hmm.
A man that stands on faith and believes in hard work, but at the same time, I also focus on the things that matter in life the most, which is my family, my friends, and leaving an outstanding legacy for the next generation, leaving that mark so that the next generation has an opportunity to make it. They can stand on my shoulders as I've stood on the shoulders of giants that come before me.
Right.
So
So, growing up in Philly, did you ever think that you would be in a leadership position?
I didn't know if I was going to make it out of Philadelphia. That's just being real. I grew up around Murder Park. That's what they call it,
Mm-hmm.
Fairmount Park, which was right by the city zoo. Um, it, Childhood was very strange for me. Again, I had friends, but I didn't really have friends. I stayed to myself for the most part. We played, just like normal kids, but I never thought of myself as a leader. But the strangest thing, now that I think back about my childhood, there were often times where I was put in leadership positions and I constantly ran from them. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be the leader. I hated it. I didn't want the spotlight. I didn't want anything to do with leadership whatsoever. And it just kept following me no matter what, you know. And I guess that after a while I was just like, you know what? Like a lost puppy. If you're gonna keep following me around leadership, then all right, come on, let's make this intentional and actually do what I'm supposed to do here and grow in that capacity. So to answer the question, no, I absolutely did not think about leadership and as a child in any capacity of the word whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, when you were growing up, did you have a leader or somebody that you looked up to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wish I could find him. It was my fifth, fourth and fifth grade teacher. So funny story here.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got expelled from elementary school. Right. Now, mind you, I had straight A's at the time, so I wasn't a bad kid. And some kids were talking about, hey, we're gonna jump him for no reason. I didn't bother anybody. They were just gonna jump me for no reason.
Right.
Now, my silly butt said, all right, well, if y'all gonna jump me, I found out from one of my best friends at the time. And so I decided I'm going to bring a weapon to school. It wasn't a real weapon. It was a potato peeler, right? I was going to peel them to death. I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something was going to come out of it. And so here's the crazy part. My best friend told on me that I had a potato peeler in school. And then I got called to the principal's office. They kicked me out of school because I had a weapon on grounds.
Wow.
So I got sent to a school in the West Philadelphia where I grew up, and this was a school for like was an alternative school.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm fourth grade. I'm like maybe 10 years old at the time. I'm in the school with 18-year-old kids now because it
Mm-hmm.
goes all the way up to 12th grade, and these kids are rough. Now I'm in a rough neighborhood, but they took all the kids from the rough neighborhood, the ones that got kicked out of the rough schools, and
Mm-hmm.
put them all in this one school. And I'm in
Right.
this school. It's almost like jail, you know. And so I'm in there, and this teacher, Mr. Terrell, I'll never forget him. Mr. Terrell, he taught me life in an instant. He taught me about cause and effect. He taught me about accountability. See, here's what happens when you make a bad decision. And he had the paddle back then.
Mm-hmm.
He I think he was an alpha. I'm not sure, but I think he was fraternity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did something in class, and he goes, "Well, you know what you owe me. You owe me two."
Whew.
And he pulled his paddle out, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And it didn't hit me hard, but it was hard enough for me to remember that paddle.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, you got me one more, Pat. He said, "Now that pain is the consequence of your decision. So now I want you to remember the the consequences that come with making bad decisions." And from that point on, I never made a bad decision in his class again. Not to where I was going to get that paddle.
Right.
And so what ended up happening was he saw the change in me. I wasn't a bad kid, but I would do silly stuff sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
so what he ended up doing, he had some really sour students, some really rough students in there. And he put me in a position to make sure that they had to pass. I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I being chosen to be accountable for this person over here for their work? I'm being punished if they don't get it done. What he was showing me was it's not about me, it's about the people around me. I've got to make sure I take care of them. And I still remember this one kid, Sam, and we were in the cafeteria, and he goes and he was just a kid that just did stuff sometimes. He always smelled like pee, right? Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but he smelled pretty bad. He was a project kid,
Mm-hmm.
and he spit in my face one time in the cafeteria, like like literally spit in my face, and it took everything in me not to drag him across that cafeteria table. So I got up, walked, took a napkin, wiped it off my face, and I just sat it in front of him, and I sat back down and looked at him. And that restraint in was enough to make him sorrowful for what he did. And what I had shown him was an example of real leadership, of how not to react but how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And in that instance, I couldn't tell him any other things, but he started doing his work after that. He started grinding. He started trying to become a better version of himself. He still made mistakes,
Right.
but that life lesson right there that was taught to him, I could have never told him. I just had to show him. That was the start of my journey, I guess you could call it, into being the example of leadership. And I kept kind of run from it, but yeah.
So, at what point did you decide you wanted to go to Grambling?
Okay, so I got stories for days. Right, I got duped. Let me tell you, right? Okay, so I remember I told you I didn't have great grades in high school, right? All I did was
Mm-hmm.
run, and I was actually slated to go to attend West Virginia University on scholarship there for track and field.
Mm-hmm.
I get my letter back, and they said, "Dude, you didn't get in," so I got denied because my GPA was too low
Mm-hmm.
to get into West Virginia, and I didn't get into the other schools I had scholarship offers with as well. So I ended up going to junior college, right? I'm running there at junior college nationals, and one of my buddies from high school is down at Grambling, and he's like, "Man, come on down. I told coach about you." And I still wasn't convinced. I was about to go to Maryland. I was about to go to school in Maryland instead because it was closer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Man, come on down. You got to go." I go away for a summer to Texas to hang out with my cousin. The coach calls me and said, "Hey man, I know you're around. I know you took a semester off. I still want you to run for us. Yada yada yada." He tracked me down. So when I got back to New Jersey, my best friend is in the car and he's like, "I'm going to Grambling with my brother. Come on with us. Hop in the car." He pulled up and said, "Dude, hop in the car. Let's go." I had my letter of intent in my hand to go to school in Maryland from scholarship. It's signed. I threw my letter of intent down on the bed, grabbed some clothes, grabbed some items, and just hopped in the car and left for Grambling. I wasn't even in school there yet. I had applied, but I wasn't in school. I went on a whim, didn't know what was going to happen, didn't know what I was going to do. I just jumped in the car and went. That's how I ended up at Grambling State University.
Wow.
Crazy.
It is, but look what it is, a life change. Have you ever thought about where you would be at if you had gone to Maryland?
Yeah, I would probably have like been robbing a store or something because I was I'm not no. No, I think I would have ended up with the wrong people doing the wrong things.
Mhm.
I wasn't like again, I wasn't involved in anything too crazy. Maybe I would have ended up in a mediocre life, but then again, who knows? I might have ended up doing some major things. But at the time, I the person I was with, we ended up getting married at the time, and then we had kids. But we got divorced after a while. But I have my two wonderful kids because I decided to go to Grambling now, and that's probably the best thing that's come out of that situation is my kids. And then I'm in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, on the west side of Atlanta. And so now, with all the individuals that I've known and since I've been here, it's been an amazing ride. So had I not gone to Grambling, I'm not sure that I would have ended up in Atlanta and met the people that I've met and ended up in the certain position that I am. So as Maya Angelou once said, I wouldn't take nothing from my journey. As tough it's been sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everything's a learning experience.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I don't take anything for granted. And I'm appreciative of all the things I have and also all the things that I don't have because some of those things could have potentially killed me.
Mhm.
So we have to be grateful for all the things in our life, not just the things we make us happy or contribute to
Mhm.
our happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were duped into going to Grambling, did you hold any leadership or trainings or anything like that for other students?
Um, yeah. So I was heavy into the church at one point, and this is one of those old school Baptist churches, right? And this is like one of those little, like those really, really small rural area churches. Sorry, and you would go to church at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you would leave, and it would be nighttime, right? One of those churches,
Mhm.
and there would be like two or three services, and they would pass the collection plate like 12 times, right? Listen, I have to span this. I got to spread this out a little bit. So you get a quarter on this pass. I'm gonna give you $2 on this pass. They had to equal that total amount, right? So I'm like, listen, I'm tired of collection plate. Don't send that way money. So anyway, don't send that collection plate down here. I'm gonna be tired of this, right?
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, so I end up doing some group coaching, if you will, or some like Bible studies back in the day.
Mhm.
And sometimes I would do small sessions with actually therapy, believe it or not, where we would just talk and converse about certain things that were bothering us, like manhood to manhood type of deals, and just have those open sessions. They were completely informal. I never put anything um, out there to like official, but again, leadership tended to find me no matter what. And people would always ask me to, um, hey, would you mind running this or would you mind running that? And I would just say, yeah, I'm okay with that. And so I think unofficially I would run some groups, but it was nothing ever official to the point where I would say, hey, this is, you know, I've got flyers and all that stuff. And again, I was running from leadership as long as I could.
Mhm.
I hated it. I didn't want to do anything with it. I didn't want the responsibility, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you major in?
Psychology.
Psychology. Did
Yeah.
you was that How does that tie into your personal and professional development, the trainings, the leadership, all that? Like, does it tie in at all?
Oh, absolutely. So we understand psychology to be the study of the mind, right? Well, what is leadership? What is the grassroots or the bare roots, the very minuscule points of the human nature. It's the mind, how we do things. How do we change? Ultimately, it has to be a decision, right? So it starts with the mind. So all leadership, the foundation of leadership is ultimately always going to start with the mind, a decision. And here's the test. Here's the litmus test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to ask a question of you, right? What is the on January 1st or New Year's Eve, whichever one, choose one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the number one thing you hear people say or watch people post on social media?
Resolutions.
Resolutions, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And approximately how long before they break those resolutions?
A couple of days.
If that, right? So what has essentially happened here is most people attack their habits, right? They say, what's the first thing they actually do? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to stop eating this. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm not going to mess with that guy or that girl anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the problem with that. It doesn't work that way. If you only attack your habits, you're not getting to the root, which is the mind, right? You're attacking what it is that you do.
Right.
But see, it works first in how you what you see or how you perceive things, then that affects your habits and that affects your results. I'm going to give you an example and I'm going to bring this home for you. What you see or what you perceive is going to affect what you do, your habits, and what you do is going to affect your results. Now, if you take example here, somebody who goes, I want to lose weight. Well, the problem is they attack their habits. They go, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Well, let's change the mindset here. Here is the paradigm. Here is the belief system. Here
Mm-hmm.
is how we think about food. It's delicious. It is scrumdiddlyumptious. I love how food makes me feel.
Right.
I feel empowered when I eat food. It's indulging to me. It's
Mm-hmm.
enticing to me. I'm a foodie. I love the flavor and the way it tastes.
Right.
Again, you're attaching the emotion of how it feels, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Everything in moderation, right?
Right.
However, what is food really? You boil it down to its two major foundations. Food is for nutrition, and food is for medication, right? If you look at food as nutrition for your body, this is what I need to live, and then you look at food as medication, this is what I need to help heal myself, because there isn't an ailment on this earth that food does not heal naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Your body, everything on this earth will heal you. That's why they killed Dr. Sebi, but that's a whole nother story, right? We're not
Right.
gonna get into that. So if food is for nutrition and food is for medication, if we start to think about it that way, our decisions at the grocery store then change. So now I'm not thinking about, ooh, what's gonna make me feel good tonight? Ooh, what is that taste gonna do to me? What is that flavor? No, no, no. What do I need to keep my body and keep myself alive now? What do I need to make sure my body is running at its optimal level, how it's healing me?
Mm-hmm.
And so because I'm shifting my paradigm, my belief system now, see this? Now I'm changing my habits, which is how I shop for food. And because I'm shopping for food differently, now I'm getting different results. See how that works?
Right.
And so psychology is that mental shift, that paradigm shift, your belief system shift, and then you change your habits and then you change your results.
Mm-hmm.
That's how psychology is intertwined with leadership. So if you want better leaders, you have to then see, how is your leadership yourself? How are you showing up? Your perception has to change about your group, about your peers, about your direct reports. And we have to make a mental adjustment on our perceptions. We have to change those glasses and change our perception of how we're showing up and how they're showing up and our expectations, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Once we then change that, then we can change our habits, which ultimately lead us to better results, which is impacting and raising better leaders. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yep.
So let's get into ESS Group.
Mm-hmm.
What is ESS Group?
It is a government contracting company, exemplary services and support services. Excuse me. We're a government contracting agency, or corporation, if you will. And so essentially what we do is we secure large government contracts at the state and federal and now international ranks. All right. So for example, if the government needs toilet paper, if the government needs soap, if the government needs, whatever esoteric of a topic you can think of,
Mm-hmm.
if they need it, they have to put it out there to bid, and people can say, hey, I can provide this for you. It's the law. It's the way it's set up. So you can take any business and apply for that bid depending on if you qualify for it or not.
Right.
So you can scale your business by going after these contracts. And so essentially that's what we do. We go after contracts that we fit for. Our main product is training and education, program management, and administrative services. However, there are two sides to our company. We have the contracts that we go after, and we team up with other businesses to go after the contracts that the government puts out. Large corporations, like large contracts, like literally hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars, sometimes billions. And then the other side is we teach small businesses how to scale their business, basically how to grow their business by securing those same contracts themselves. So if you don't know how to do that, we show you step by step how to set your business up so that you can go after those contracts as well. It doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
People say, well, what if I'm an escort, for example, right? And I'm being facetious here, but at the same time, I'm not. Well, we've seen contracts for escort services. What if I'm a barber? Yeah, there are contracts out there for licensed barbers. What if I cut grass? Absolutely. Um, what if I do radio and television? Absolutely. Here's one. I saw a contract for soap. I'm not joking. Somebody made organic soap and they had a contract. The contract, Tawanda, the contract was $100,000
Wow.
for some soap.
Wow. I can make soap. So pretty much everything, anything you can think of, there's a contract for it.
Yes, just about. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say just anything as esoteric you could think of. And somebody asked me a question. What about hybrid electric bikes? If you look deep enough, there's probably a contract for it. Might be with the Department of Transportation. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are several state agencies all around the country, and there are several federal agencies all around the country. Not only that, you have international contracts that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just America. There are contracts all over the globe, and if you have the product, you can find one. You can find something. Now you're gonna have to compete against people. I'm not saying it's just easy, but it's there. But if you don't know it's there, you can't compete for it. So I keep telling people, stop trying to sell to Fred and Jamie and Auntie and them, and go get you a contract that's going to set your business up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a contract we're looking at in training space, and it's a six-figure contract.
Wow.
Now you imagine having 5 or 6 of those in a year. Now you're making $500,000 to $1 million in revenue, and you just scale your company that way, right? Start growing in bulk. That's what we do.
Wow. So I know you said it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
What is there anything that you can do to make it a little easier?
Yeah, you can take our courses now. yeah, yeah. We've got some courses set up to make it as easy as possible, and there's going to be a learning curve. I think the easiest thing what you can do is to partner with somebody who knows the game. We
Mm-hmm.
know the game. right? However, you still need to set your business up properly. We're not going to partner with people if you have not set up the business and you don't really know the terminology, or we can't speak to you at a minimum level.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always going to encourage, if you don't have any knowledge, first of all, um, take our beginners course. It's laid out step by step to let you set everything up. We can't work with you if you're not set up properly.
Right.
Once you're set up and you have a minimum amount of, you don't have to know everything because we can help walk you through it. Matter of fact, we've had one of our mentees come in and they went through our program and we went after a contract with them in California. It was
Mm-hmm.
with the EPA. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. Somebody else beat us out barely by points, but we went after it with somebody who went through our program.
Mm-hmm.
And this was going to be a six-figure contract again, and they were going to make five figures and we were going to make five figures in a split.
Right.
you know so to answer your question, to make things easier, it's best to try to slide in with some people who are in the game and do a little bit of what's called subcontracting work. So basically you provide a certain aspect of the scope of work, if you will. Okay, scope of work is what needs to be delivered, what the organization is asking you for. The example would be, Tawanda, if you do video production, okay, and the contract is around movie making, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm already on the contract for the management of this entire project, hey, I need a video producer. I might call you and say, hey, T, um, do you think you can fulfill this portion of the contract? And you go, oh yeah, I can do that. I've got a team already in place. Cool. Tell me your rates. And then you tell me your rates. I include that into the bid, and then or the proposal, and they award it to us. And now I can give you your portion based on the work that you need to do. And the only thing you need to do is deliver what you said you can deliver. That's it.
Are all the government contracts six figures, or do they range?
No, they range. They range. You might find some. And so what I don't want people to get caught up in is the number,
Mm-hmm.
because you can have a five-figure contract where your margins are 80 to 90%, your profit. And then you can also have a $7 million contract and your profit margin is 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be very careful with just kind of being concerned with only the numbers. You want to look at your profit margins and what you're able to take away from this. But no, they will range from five figures, four or five figures, depending on what's needed, um, all the way up to the B's, and I'm talking billions,
Okay.
right?
Nice.
And yeah, they take some work to get in those billions. You really have to have a really solid company,
Mm-hmm.
with some past performance, is what they call it. They basically, you've done some work in that area, and it amounts to what they need. You have the experience, basically a business resume that supports you getting $1 billion contract.
So do they go by, like, are they a couple of months, the contracts, or is it just for the whole year? Do they take up all your time?
No, so it depends on the contract. One, you don't want to ever put yourself in a position to where you're the person on the contract all the time. So we're saying take up all your time. I love that verbiage, right? So if I'm in here and I'm running the contract, I don't want to be in the contract. I'm going to hire some contract workers,
Mhm.
1099s or W-2s, to work the contract while we simply manage it,
Right.
right? We're making sure that the deliverables get put down and the company, the organizations get what they need. That's my charge, to get the make sure the company get the deliverables, right?
Mhm.
Um, but it just depends. The time frame depends. So you can have a 3 month contract or a 6 month contract or a year long contract, or it could be a 5 year contract or a 10 year contract, or it could be a year contract with options to renew every year for 5 years.
Mhm.
So it just depends on what they need and the ask. So it varies a lot.
So as a minority, what are the advantages are they looking? I know I've seen somewhere where someone was like, a woman and a minority, they really looking for that, and like
Mhm.
what um what credentials, how would you tell them, oh, yeah, I mean, I can tell them I'm a woman and I own a business.
Right.
But like, is there any specific credentials or anything you have to get to?
Yeah, absolutely. You do. And that's part of our course as well, is trying to understand some of those certifications that you can pull in, and then all the applications. And that's part of setting your business up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, you have what you call a woman-owned small business, a WOSB, right? I'm learning these acronyms too, because again, I told you my fiance was the one in this, and I'm like, it's like being in the military with her, right?
Right.
It's like, man, she started throwing out these acronyms. I'm like, babe, wait, slow down. Okay, what? What are you saying? you know, what are you talking about right now? So you have like women-owned small businesses, you have minority businesses, you have veteran-owned small businesses, right? You have disabled uh, veteran small. It's a whole lot of different terminology, right? Um, you simply have to apply for those. I guess you could call them certifications or like verifications,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and once you apply for those, and then you provide the documentation and the proof, and then that gets attached to your company within the registration systems. And those registration systems all talk to each other. So when you apply and bid, it will let you know, hey, if you're a woman owned small business, you can check a box, and then the ones that apply only to women owned small businesses will pop up. So you get an advantage just by being a woman. You get an advantage by being a minority. And there are certain, what they call them is set asides.
Mm-hmm.
You have a certain amount of the contract that has to be set aside so that women or minorities or veterans, etc., have to be a part of those things, right? And they do that so no one ethnic group can push everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
Read between the lines on that,
Yeah. No
right?
dominations. Yeah.
Exactly. So it evens the playing ground. It levels the playing ground for individuals. So yeah, great question.
Thank you. So I know you mentioned that you do the train. You do, well, ESS Group does the contracting,
Right.
and then you have ESS Academy,
Yes.
and that's where you do the training for the businesses, the small businesses.
Correct. That is
So
correct.
what type of trainings do you do?
Oh wow, that's a list. Jesus. So majority we're always going to start with our leadership training. That's always going to be our flagship, right? We're actually headed to South Africa in November to do a leadership training with the group out there that we met. Excuse me. Um, so leadership trainings, we do DISC, we do Franklin Covey, we do sheesh man, oh my goodness, you about to construction, fiber optics,
Mm-hmm.
um, like any pretty much anything you name, we can jump into that type of training because the training industry is very wide open. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing we need is like a subject matter expert, and we can design a curriculum around that particular thing. We can do real estate, we can do video. It doesn't matter what the industry is, as long as we have somebody that can speak to it, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can find someone to fit in that training role for us. I know there's times where we would teach on certain things within contracting itself and how to scale your business. So um, that will be it. It's not an exhaustive. It's hard to do an exhaustive list on training, especially when we have an opportunity to partner with people who are experts in the field,
Mm-hmm.
and we simply design the curriculum, or we talk to their curriculum, or we hire people who are in that particular industry to do the training. So we can really honestly fit in just about anywhere as long as we have the right personnel we can hire.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
What makes your trainings unique?
that is, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that question. So I've been in the training and development industry for 18 years, and the one thing I hate is lecture. I really hate sitting in classrooms listening to somebody talk at me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the most annoying, boring thing ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Well, so what I have learned, I work with, I did a conference, and we were down in Miami, Florida. I was talking to JD Dillon. JD Dillon is one of the top learning and development professionals in the world. And we came to this conclusion that people are learning the wrong way now. Um, Question, I'll use a story here, or I use you as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you were maybe a year or 2 years old, could you read very well? Not
No.
very well, right?
Mm-mm.
but you knew McDonald's,
Yep.
right?
Knew the sign, that art.
Right. How did you learn how to speak? Do you remember?
No.
No? You had parents around you?
Yes.
Did you have any other siblings or anything?
Yes. I was the baby.
Okay.
Am the
So
baby.
did you kind of look and they kind of pointed and gestured and you
Yeah.
were constantly engaged and then you started to figure out some words here and
Hmm.
there? That's learning.
Yes.
So in a sense, learning isn't sit and talk at me for an hour and a half or 8 hours, even worse. It's hey T, um, hola, right? Then it's tomorrow.
Hmm.
Hey T, hola. So what do
Hmm.
you say on the second day?
Hola.
Hola, right?
Hmm.
Are we sitting formally learning Spanish?
No.
No. What I'm doing is every day I'm engaging with you on a very small scale, small chunks,
Hmm.
right? And so I might say, hola, ¿cómo estás? And you go, what? Never mind. I say, hola, ¿cómo estás? You might say, I don't know what you're saying, but hola, ¿cómo estás? And I might reply, muy bien.
Hmm.
Oh, that's how you respond.
Yeah.
And now we're engaging in conversation. See, that's learning.
Hmm.
It's constant engagement in small chunks consistently over time. That's what makes us different.
Yeah.
We don't engage with just these regular trainings. We believe in engaging training where you're in on the job, in project, working, um, small chunks, constantly in your face over time. That's how we do our training. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us successful in our trainings. Right. I'm doing a
Hmm.
training right now for some leaders at the state of Georgia, and we've spread out their training, which is normally 2 days. I've spread it out over 8 months,
Oh, wow.
and now they're picking it up. The culture is changing because it's spread out.
Hmm.
That's an example of what we do. That's why we do it differently.
Yes. Okay. Are your trainings like, are they conducted in person, Zoom, or both?
Yes.
Online?
Yes.
Yes, everything.
Everything. Yeah. Whatever the client wants, that's what we do. Whatever they're comfortable with. We can do in-person trainings. We can do Zoom trainings. We can do hybrid, which is really kind of hard when you have some people that are in the virtual space and some people that are in your face. It's
Hmm.
really a unique experience, and you really have to be well versed as a trainer to
Hmm.
be able to maintain that. It's best if you have somebody to assist you in that capacity. It's really difficult because you have, hey, I've got to create virtual activities and I've also got to create in-person activities and then coordinate all of this so it happens and finishes at the same time and everybody's moving at the same time. It's like, well, what is happening right now? Right.
Right.
So it can be difficult. But yes, great question.
So I know you said that you just the with the state of Georgia, you changed one from 2 days to 8 months.
Yeah.
How often, or is it hard to change it to that length of time?
Not necessarily. If you coordinate it good, well, essentially what we're doing is the leaders are involved every 2 weeks,
Hmm.
so it doesn't. It's not detrimental to their schedule. It doesn't take away from what they have to do, their workload, and they do about 2 to 4 hours of training every month, which isn't a heavy lift, right? And so the reason why it's spread out that way is because I've incorporated small group discussions. So 9 times out of 10, most people are going to walk away from a training, and by the next morning, they've forgotten at least 80% of it.
Hmm.
And so, in order to alleviate that, it's constantly engaged over a few weeks, and they start to speak the language, sort of like hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Over and over. And now, okay, yeah, I know where you're getting at this now. Now it becomes a habit because it's in my face now. Now I can go, hey, how can I be proactive here in this situation? Because Raji or Tommy is pissing me off and I want to go punch him in the face, right? What is he really doing? Why is there a trigger here? What can I do to alleviate the situation instead of, going off on Tommy, right?
Hmm.
Maybe instead I can come to work an hour earlier so I don't have to deal with Tommy as long. Now I'm looking at my control, my circle of influence. and now I'm focused on what I can do. And then that becomes a habit. Then that becomes a culture, because now everybody's seeing that I'm moving and controlling what I control, and not allowing environmental circumstances to cause me to react in a negative way. I'm responding now. And because as a leader, I'm responding, I'm choosing my responses. Guess what my direct reports do now? They start responding in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
Because as leaders, we have to show up and be the most of. We have to be the example. So if I want my team to be enthusiastic, guess who has to show up as the most enthusiastic person? Me, as the
Mm-hmm.
leader. They're going to do what I do. They're not going to do what I say,
Right.
right? It's like your kids, right? Or,
Mm-hmm.
if you have children, I don't know, but
I
you
have
tell
7.
you have 7 children
I do.
and you're awake. Where's your gray hair? Oh my God. Wow. You do not have 7 children. Get
I
out of
do.
here. I don't believe you.
I do.
Wow. So that's amazing. First of all,
Thank you.
kudos. I have 2 and I'm about to go crazy. Um, yeah, but they're a blessing,
Yeah.
right? So if you tell your children not to do something, 9 times out of 10 they do it anyway, just
Mm-hmm.
because you said not to do it. However, if you show up, let's say, hey, make your bed, make your bed, make your bed, make your bed, and they don't see you make your bed at all, the chances of them making their bed are,
Right.
almost
Mm-hmm.
nil. But if they see you get up and make your bed every day, or if they see you get up and wash and comb your hair, hopefully they'll get the message over time after you've repeated yourself several times.
Mm-hmm.
Children are children, but they tend to do what we do. And because they do what we do, that's the same way that the office space works.
Mm-hmm.
Our direct reports or our team, they do what we do, right? Here's your litmus test. See, you walk into the AT&T building, the CEO, the COO, the CFO, they all come down in 3-piece suits. What do you think the rest of that office dresses like?
Snazzy.
Right? They're
Yeah.
probably going to be to the nines. Now
Mm-hmm.
go down to Texas. The owners of these cattle ranches, they're billionaires, but they
Mm-hmm.
wear flannel shirts, jeans, and cowboy boots. What do
Right.
you think the rest of their team wears?
Some jeans and cowboy boots.
Right. So we're ultimately going to mock or mimic the alpha leaders within our society.
Mm-hmm.
It's human nature. That's how we're built.
Right.
Because if the alpha leader, if you weren't accepted by the alpha leader, you were kicked out in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got kicked out of the tribe before technology was around, that was imminent death.
Yeah.
So there's a fear. Here we go. Now I'm tapping into some psychology for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fear of not being accepted by people now,
Mm-hmm.
by the leaders. That's why social media is so popular.
Yes.
From likes. Because, oh my God, I'm accepted. You like me. That means I'm not going to die. It's hard wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See
Yep.
how that works? Yeah.
Yep.
Little hip action.
So, what is your idea of a good leader?
Adaptive, humble, growth oriented, willing to show up, an individual who sows into their people,
Mm-hmm.
and they believe in being the example. They lead from the front. And one of the greatest attributes or traits that I love about a great leader is that they are willing to fail, and they are willing to admit that they don't know all the answers. In fact, the best leaders don't answer at all. They let their team answer, right? And the reason why I think that those are the best leaders is because they stay within their lane and what they're focused on, which is steering the ship, right? They don't try to steer the ship. They don't wash the deck. They don't row. They don't clean. They don't bake. They don't cook. They don't do all the things that's needed on a ship. They steer the ship and they focus and they allow their team, they empower their team to operate in excellence in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the greatest leaders. And then they raise them up to be the best versions of themselves while being the best version of themselves at the same time. Again, being the most of.
Mhm.
Those are the leaders that I look up to. Those are the leaders that I watch. Those are the leaders that I mimic myself, because I want to be continuously be that leader. And if a leader isn't willing to do that, they don't need to be in leadership. That's a boss. That's a manager. We don't need more managers. We need more leaders who push from the front as hard as possible and raise people up to be better than where they think they can. And then they pull out the best from their people. They want the best from their people, and they pull the best from their people at
Mhm.
the same time. So those are the things that make an outstanding leader, in my opinion.
Irene says, great advice.
Yay, Irene. Thank you, Irene.
So I have a question. What is the difference between a coach and a mentor?
Oh, that's a really good question right there. So, in my opinion, I'm gonna start with the mentorship, right? They're very similar. They're very similar, but sometimes you can get a coach to kind of put you through certain scenarios, right? And your mentors are going to have experience and walk you through and give you guidance on those certain areas as well.
Mhm.
So your mentor, again, they're very, very similar semantics at this point.
Mhm.
Your mentor is going to take you hand by hand and take you exactly where you are. Where some coaches may only be able to talk you through standardized circumstances, right? However, again, it depends on the coach. It depends on the mentorship. I don't think there's very much variation when it comes to that. I think it's really about the individual and the program that's put in place.
Mhm.
Because you can have coaches who are great mentors as well. However, a mentor, in my when I'm thinking about it outside of semantics, is going to really dig deep into um, guiding you and walking with you the entire time, whereas a coach may give you some things that you need to do and kind of taper off and let you go on your own and discover certain things.
Mhm.
So it just depends on the nature of the relationship. The mentorship is really going to build that really deep connection with their mentees, and they're going to be with them for life, whereas a coach may only be with them for a certain amount of time. So if I was going to say there was any variation, it may be that. So
Okay. Is there, I do understand that you have an affiliate group. Is it with the ESS group or with the academy?
the academy. And so ESS affiliate, that's exactly what it is, ESSaffiliate.net. Um, we allow people to do referrals,
Mhm.
right? So if you do referrals, we give you a percentage of any course sales or mentorship sales that are sold. And it's just a way for people to make money online while sleeping, right? They're pretty good at marketing. We believe in sharing the wealth. And so we want people to, earn what they want. And it's an opportunity. We also, have some other things going on as we're expanding,
Mhm.
moving into international waters, and we're growing our academy as well.
Mhm.
We've got some courses we're building out right now for certification. So as I spoke about earlier, there are certain designations for us, like woman-owned small business, disabled business owner, or um, veterans, stuff like that. And forgive me because I still don't know all the daggone terminologies. I'm like, my fiance, she's got it down packed, and I'm still
Mhm.
stuttering like ABCDF1, what, right? So we have those, but we're working on a certification course as well, which will, once you get the certifications, you can leverage those certifications for even bigger advantages in the market.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, the affiliate program is open to mostly anybody. Um, it's we Our program can be sold around the world. Generally, it's for the U.S. government because that's the way it's set up. However, we are expanding. Like I said, we're moving into business with Africa. We just secured a contract over there, and we have a couple more in the pipeline that we're working on as well. So there's going to be some major opportunities for our affiliates and our new sales reps that we're hiring.
Mhm.
Um, and that we're excited about that. And then, we're hoping, well, now we're hoping, we're working towards um, expansion so we can bring on some marketing people, we can bring on some admins, we can bring on some people who are interested in international travel to be boots on the ground and project managers. Like we've got a whole array of things going on right now. So, and we're expanding pretty well. So we're happy about that.
So how would, if they wanted to join you with the affiliate or the um what you got coming up in Africa, how would they get in, you know, get there to get the information?
Okay, so if you want to join the affiliate program, you would just go to essaffiliate.net. essaffiliate.net. The affiliate program is laid out right there. Most of our affiliates start out at like 10%, and then over time, we just give them a little bit more based on their performance and time with the affiliate program. You can actually work your way up to about 40%. So, we've got some pretty good classes coming down the pipe. And it's a way to earn some pretty good money pretty quickly, especially if you know people who own small businesses who want to scale their businesses by selling and securing their selling their products to the largest buyer in the world, first of all, with the biggest pocketbook and biggest wallet,
Right.
right? So if they want to scale their businesses, that's a no-brainer right there. All they have to do is
Mhm.
learn how to do it. So, but if they want to get with us about Africa, they'll need to email us at info, and you can find us on the website essgroupinc.net. Our contact info, just put in there, or you can email info at essgroupinc.net and just put in Africa. We're connected. That's info at essgroupinc.net. Um, we're connected with some repatriates over there. And so if you are interested in doing some business or scaling business over there, we have some people that we're connected with within what's called the Exodus Group. And these are people who came from America to Africa. Most of them are in Senegal or the Western Africa, Ivory Coast area, Senegal, Gambia, Nigeria, that surrounding uh, area.
Mhm.
Um, they are building successful businesses over there. I know there's one individual, he's with Dream Restaurant. They wrote it, they did a whole news thing about him and
Mhm.
his sister. Um, we got another guy who does real estate over there right now. They're doing construction over there right now. They're doing housing over there right now. Real estate's booming over
Mhm.
there. Pretty much you name it. They're building out schools. They've got a whole lot of initiatives over there. So um, you're interested in import, export, agriculture, whatever, we can get you connected with the individuals who got us connected. So
Okay. So let's go down your handles, like your Facebook, LinkedIn, and we did give a couple of those connections, but give us your Facebook and your LinkedIn and your website.
yeah, it's really easy. Well, it's kind of hard actually. It's ESS Group Inc. That's pretty much everything. So it's Facebook. That's LinkedIn. My personal IG is a little bit different. Um, it's Kyle Mark Jones. So MARC. You can find me now. Here's the cool thing about my IG. Like, if you go, first of all, if you follow me, I'm gonna definitely follow you back. I love engaging with people. You can always reach out to me there, and we can have conversations. We can schedule some time, schedule some calls, right?
Mhm.
If you need some advice, I don't mind. I'll when I schedule some time with you, it doesn't. I don't charge a thing to schedule time with you. I am very conscious of my time though. So if we're meeting, it's important. If you, I will. I'm being, not to be mean, but if you don't show up for the meeting, you will never get me in a meeting again, ever,
Understood.
ever. Okay.
Time is valuable. You can't
Yes,
just not show up.
absolutely. I don't have time. So if I put you on my schedule, I care about you in some capacity, because people I don't care about do not get on my schedule, and my schedule is tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there, I have my link tree on my IG, so we
Mm-hmm.
can connect there. If you go to my bio and click on my link tree, it has all of our websites listed out, right? So ESS Group, ESS the affiliate program. It has geez, the academy on there, and also we're raising funds for Africa, for resources for them. Everything goes to them. We don't touch a dime. Everything goes towards Africa. And then there's one for track and field scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So We're working with the Bianca Knight Foundation. I don't know if you guys know who Bianca Knight is. She's a former
No.
Olympian.
Yes.
Okay, she's a former Olympian, 100-meter runner, 4x1. So we're working with her, and so we're raising money for that. And then once we reach a certain amount, we're going to send every single dime over to the Bianca Knight Foundation for them for a scholarship
That's great.
on behalf. So, if you're willing, I want to ask is if you're willing to donate $1, like a simple dollar is it will take us a long way if we get a lot of people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So my link tree is there. I would love to connect with people on IG. I try to connect people in different aspects, different places, and I know a lot of people. So whatever you need, tell me what you need, and I'll see if I have somebody who can meet that need or at least point you in the right direction.
Yes.
Right? And that's what I do.
Okay. Well, it was great having you on. I learned a lot, especially about the government contracting. And I do want to get with you on the affiliate.
Okay.
I know that you said, well, I have a question about that because you said you can go up to 40% commission. Where does the commission start?
It starts at 10.
Mm-hmm.
But if I like you, I might bump you up to 20. Who knows? I don't know.
So how do you move up in the ranks?
It's all laid out on the affiliate program. So once you hit a certain amount of revenue generated, we pretty much bump you up. So it's performance based.
Okay.
So you can do that. But again, if you're a quality affiliate, I have no issue with bumping you up. We pay on the second of every month.
Mm-hmm.
And we track all of your affiliate sales. You get your own affiliate link. Anybody who purchases the programs through your affiliate link, it gets attached to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we export that at the end of the month. And then whatever your revenue is, it shoots right to you. Here's the cool thing about it, though. All of our things are based on we do three payments for every program we have, right? So 90 days, you get to pay off your program. You don't have to pay it in full. Mm-hmm. So the cool thing is if you're an affiliate, you can do one sale and it pays you for 3 months in 3 parts.
Nice.
And if you continue to do sales, it just continuously build. It had, like, for example, I told one guy, I said, man, just for example, if you did like 36 sales, this is an extreme example, right? If you did 36 sales a month as an affiliate, and let's say you were at the 40% mark, mm-hmm. then you would essentially earn about $3,500 for that month because it's a partial payment, right? Mm-hmm. However, if you did 36 the next month, that next month you would be at 6,000 because the second payment from that first month comes over. Mm-hmm. By the third month, if you did that, you'd be almost at $10,000 a month.
Nice.
It builds very quickly, mm-hmm. But those are generally like our sales reps right now. We're hiring sales reps, commission-based sales reps, mm-hmm. In the same capacities, and they start out at 40%. You got to interview for those positions, though. We're not just taking anybody for that. Right. You actually have to apply. You have to submit your resume, and we will review it. And you have to go through a couple of interviews because we have a culture here at ESS, and you have to fit within that culture. So that 40%, from the gate is going to come with some, experience, mm-hmm. individuals and people who are serious about sales and really want to make, this is a full-time thing, mm-hmm. to start that level. So only serious salespeople for that one. Mm-hmm. If you want to just do it part-time, or just you market online, we'll start you at 10% and bump you up based on your performance.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. So again, thank you for joining me. Maybe next time we can have you on again and have Josie come with some more questions.
Oh, yeah.
But again, thank you. I thank everyone for joining us. And next week, join us again at 7:30. We will have Stacy Strozier of Transfer Care. We look forward to talking to you. We look forward to seeing you. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.